Well, every day there seems to be a new development going on with the Paramount merger and all the various lawsuits. Yesterday, we took some time to kind of give you guys the all the info on all the various lawsuits and legal potential actions that are happening towards the Paramount merger. And of course, the most significant of those things is the lawsuit being brought by the 12 states and the fact that a judge granted a temporary restraining order barring Paramount from merging with Warner Brothers for at least the next 2 weeks, and then maybe until the trial is over. We'll see how that all shakes out. Now, the latest development to happen with all that is the fact that you know that the Writers Guild of America launched their own lawsuit. And now they are also filing for a TRO, also known as a temporary restraining order or an injunction, to block the merger until their trial is done. So you have the 12 states lawsuit just successfully got a TRO against the merger. And now the Writers Guild in their own lawsuit is also filing a similar motion to block it, but obviously on very different grounds. The reason it's filing it on different grounds than the 12 states is, as we explained yesterday, whereas the states are suing the Paramount Warner Brothers merger based on the threat of a monopoly being when there is only a limited number of service providers for a wider audience. I use the illustration of a kingdom of turnips. A monopoly will be you have a kingdom full of people that want to eat turnips, but only one or two people that actually supply turnips. That is monopoly. Of course, the Writers Guild of America is filing their lawsuit on a completely opposite basis, which is not based on a monopoly, but a monopsony, which is the opposite. Think about that kingdom of turnips, but instead of a kingdom full of people who want to eat turnips, it's a kingdom full of people that produce turnips, but only one or two companies that actually buy them. So in a monopoly, it's one or two providers. In a monopsony, that is only one or two consumers. So it's a completely opposite thing. Now, obviously, one of the Writers Guilds of America's major concerns about the Paramount Warner Brothers merger is that there's going to be fewer writing jobs, right? Now, I get it. David Ellison, who is a major movie fan, keeps saying they're going to produce 30 theatrical films a year. That's adorable. No, they're not. Not with $110 billion in debt. They're not going to be able to finance 30 theatrical films a year. But I'm sure that's what he wants to try to do. So the Writers Guild is filing this motion for an injunction based, one, on the idea that there's going to be fewer jobs going around, and that will hurt the industry. It's going to hurt. It's going to mean less employment for writers. But there's a second reason that they're filing this injunction. It's not just the idea that there's going to be fewer jobs. It's the idea that with fewer job providers, the employers are going to have more leverage to drive down wages. Because when there's fewer options available to a worker, they have to settle for less. Let me give you this little example that I came up with here. Let's say, for example, you got a guy who mows lawns. And he goes into this neighborhood, and there's a couple of neighbors that really want his services, but he's only got time to do one. So the one neighbor says, "Hey, mow my lawn. I'll give you $50. But then the neighbor says, "I'll give you 60." Like they actually have to bid against each other for the services of the guy mowing the lawn. Demand for his services drives prices up. But what happens, the WGA will say, when one guy buys both houses? And the one guy says, "I own both houses now. I'll pay you 30. Before, when there were two owners, they had to bid against each other, driving the potential money that the lawnmower guy could make, in this case, the WGA. And what the WGA is saying is, if this merger goes through, the owners are going to have way more leverage, and it's going to mean not only fewer jobs for writers, it's going to mean that we are being leveraged to force our salaries to go down. And that is what they are saying is ultimately Paramount's goal here, but not just Paramount. The WGA would say if any more moving forward of the major studios combined, this is the problem it's going to cause for them. So that's their basis for doing it. So guys, there is a scenario here that if by some miracle on August 3rd, when the 12 states and Paramount go back in front of the judge again to give their final arguments about the restraining order, which I think is pretty clear Paramount is going to lose. And then what happens in appeals, I don't know, but I think they're going to lose that. But even if they do, the WGA's injunction might come into play. Now, of course, just because the 12 states one worked, it doesn't mean the WGA one is going to work, because they're suing on completely different basis here. But it does create another layer of complexity for Paramount. Rob, you're taking a look at this. We now got we got the Writers Guild in here. They're now filing for an injunction. What do you think about the basis of why they're filing this? And what do you think their chances of success here are?
Well, I mean, I think they have a very valid reason. You're looking at the dwindling, how many major motion picture studios are there in the world? 5, now less. And I think that it's obvious that the Writers Guild of America, whose bread and butter for all of their constituents come from writing movies and TV that are made by the studios. And if there is more of a monopoly there, and like you just said, they control 2 houses, a pox on both your houses, Romeo and Juliet style, it does limit competition. And the United States was a country that really is built on healthy competition. That's why we have antitrust laws in the first place. That's why we don't want monopolies. We want free market capitalism. And when you have free market capitalism, it tends to work well because it incentivizes everybody to do a good job. And that's one of the things that capitalism provides. I mean, yeah, you can talk about the bastardization of it all, but we're having people that are fighting for a robust economy within the entertainment business. And also the value of writing should never be diminished. And I think that's where all of our great movies and TV shows begin, is with the writing. So I'm all for it. Now, do I think they're going to succeed? Well, I think, look, they're guild signatories. So both Warner Brothers and Paramount have agreed to guild rules. That's part of their SAG signatories, their WGA signatories. They are DGA signatories, IATSE, and those union ties that the studios have are incredibly important, because one union is really intertwined with another, as we've seen when sometimes the DGA will settle before the WGA or SAG. But this is a very important ecosystem that you want to stay healthy. And I think that's what the WGA is fighting for. And whether they're going to succeed, I think they have a strong case, certainly.
Yeah, Sean, I mean, look, just I guess it's more than just a couple of years ago now, but not too long ago, Disney purchased Fox, which reduced that competition even more. And it seems like the smaller and smaller the pool gets, every time a new merger gets suggested, it ups the ante even more because there are already so few going around. What do you think about, the WGA's, the writer's stance here on this? Do they have a valid argument? What's some of the pitfall? How do you see this thing shaking out?
Yeah, I mean, I think their argument makes a lot of sense to me. If there's more employers, there's more opportunities to get jobs, and there's to put them against each other. I mean, this is the basics of, trying to get a raise at your job. You go to the other guy, get another job offer, and then you go back to your boss and say, hey, this other job is offering me more money. This is fairly basic stuff in every industry. Competition helps raise wages, and competition provides more companies provides more opportunities for work. And so I think what they're saying makes a ton of sense to me. The Paramount response at the end of the article makes no sense, where they go, no, the writers are wrong. I get why they're worried. They want work. We want them to have work. We're planning on providing more jobs for them. We're going to have more writing opportunities. Well, right. Of course you're going to say that, but how? Why? Like, do you have a reason? Is there some mechanism by which that all of a sudden you're going to make more movies than 2 companies when you're one company? Like, how does that make any sense? What's your reasoning? What's your rationale for that? But, last week we talked about how I'm exhausted just listening to you read off all the lawsuits and all the ways that they're being attacked on every single front. And there's only more this week. There's only more. Like, I don't know how someone deals with that much stress and that much opposition from the entire marketplace. Everyone is like, please don't do this. Here's the reasons why, plus the government. And man, they're still moving forward.
Anyway, guys, we are a long way from being done with this thing as more stuff keeps moving forward. Question is for you. What do you think about this? The WGA is now hot on the heels of the states being granted a restraining order against the Paramount merger. They're now seeking their own completely different basis for why they're asking for it. Do you think it has a chance to succeed? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.